Discusses on the laws of Kiddush. It says halacha that a person is supposed to bring the bread and bring the table out after the Kiddush. In time of Chazal, everybody used to have a private table with their own food on that table. So they used to bring it out only after Kiddush. The Gemara says if you bring it before Kiddush, the Gemara says you should cover it. You should cover the food, you should cover the bread before the Kiddush, and then you can do Kiddush. Rashbam says this is the precursor for the halacha of where you have to cover the bread when you do Kiddush. Now the Rashbam says it's for the sake of honoring the Shabbat, to show that the food is only here for Shabbat. So first we do Kiddush, we cover the bread, we cover the food, it's not for us, it's for the Kiddush, it's for Shabbat, and then we uncover it for the honor of Shabbat. The Tosafot brings another reason. He says that it's really Zecher Laman. It's to remember the man, that man used to fall covered with dew on both on the top and the bottom. So therefore, a person also has to cover the bread on Shabbat, or Zecher Laman, to remember how they had to cover the bottom. We have the challah board, and then to remember the covering on the top, we put the challah cover on top. And then you have the Rosh, who writes a third reason. The Rosh writes that a person who's really, according to halacha, is to make a motzi first. In the pasuk, the chita is before a gefen. So therefore, you're supposed to make a motzi before a gefen. So we're sort of like ignoring this halacha because of Shabbat. You have to make kiddush first. And so in order not to forget this halacha, to not embarrass the bread, as they say, so therefore we cover the bread. It's as if it's not here. So he quotes that reason also, and all this is discussed. This is Moresh Aleph. But the idea is that we cover the bread before we do the kiddush, and it stays covered until we make hamotzi. Now, according to these reasonings, the Kaf HaChaim writes the Shlishit. Also, a person should cover the bread. He says that if according to Tosafot, the Zecher Laman, so we'd eat 3 times a day, correspond to the times of the Shabbat that they would get the man. It says the word pasuk, the pasuk. It says the word hayom 3 times. So therefore, you also should cover the bread by Sudah Shishit Zecher Laman. It applies there as well. Also, many of the poskim Achronim write that mezonot in the pasuk, mezonot also comes before a gefen in the pasuk. So you should cover mezonot also before when you do the kiddush. Sometimes in shul you have kiddush, you also have mezonot on the table in the shul's kiddush. So you should cover the mezonot also in order not to embarrass the mezonot. Just like we say, you don't embarrass the bread before you do the kiddush. So a person should pay attention to this halacha, explain to his family members this halacha, they'll appreciate the halacha. There's a nice story where there was a king who was feeling very down. And he wanted to go and get uplifted. He was walking around his kingdom. He passed by a little house in the village, and he sees that there's beautiful music coming from this house. It's a very poor, it was humble home, and he sees the people inside, very poor home, very poor people. Nonetheless, the father's banging on the drums, and the sons are singing, and they're enjoying themselves. They're so happy. He says, unbelievable. He went and he knocked on the door, and he said, I'm the king. I was passing by. You lift up my spirits. I want to give you a nice gift. He gave them a whole box full of gold coins. He made them wealthy overnight. So he left, and he got good spirits, and he was happy, and he went on his way. He went, next time he was around, he passed by. He says, I want to see what happened to these people. He passed by, he looks in the window, and he sees that the husband is screaming at the wife, and the wife is screaming at the husband, the children are screaming at each other, and they're all arguing. He knocked on the door again. He said, what happened? Last time I was here, everybody was so happy. So they go and they explain, they were arguing about this money they have left. What should they spend it on? Should I spend it on this? Should I spend it on that? No, it's my money, it's your money. They're all arguing about the money. He said, I don't understand. You were happier when you were more poor. When you were more poor, you were happier. I gave you parnasah, I gave you atzlacha, and all of a sudden you get upset, now you're sad, and you go and he took it away. So therefore, the mashal is that when people come from humble beginnings, people sometimes they make immigration, they go and they move to another country. They're very humble. They're able to put many families in one apartment. They're not so meticulous about the details. They're very happy with what they have. They say, at least we have this. And then, Chas v'shalom, the Yetzer Hara comes when we have a chef, a bracha v'atzlacha, we have a lot of good things. The Yetzer Hara says, no, but it's not perfect. It's not this. It's mine. It's yours. It's this. It's that. All this fighting, all this Yetzer Hara to take away the happiness. And therefore, a person has to make sure, if we were able to be happy with what we had back then, how much more so we should be happy with what we have today. Baruch Na'olam. Amen.